What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the Miami Heat. And we're going to answer the question, since Bam Adebayo will be out 4 to 6 weeks, who on the Miami Heat roster needs to step up? And can the Miami Heat maintain their positioning in the top six? Let's get into it.
The Miami Heat are currently number 5 in the Eastern Conference with a record of 14-10, having split the last 10 games that they've played. Can the Miami Heat hold on while Bam is out nursing his injury?
It depends. It depends because not only is Bam out, Jimmy has been out due to a back tailbone bruise. So it depends. It really, for me, it doesn't even depend if it does. The Heat's positioning doesn't really rest on Bam Adebayo's back because the Heat has been able to win without Bam at least 3 games because he hasn't played, some games during the season. So they can still win, but they need Jimmy. So for me, it depends. It depends on Jimmy Butler's availability. That's it.
Interesting you say that because I don't think they can hold on with Bam out of the lineup. And because it pushes Dedmon to the starting center spot. He is no Bam Adebayo by any stretch of the imagination.
And he shouldn't be. He's not. I don't think if they thought that, then Bam would be coming off the bench. So the Heat already knew that Dedmon was not the man to do what Bam does because I think he lacks some athleticism. However, I do believe that he can still get rebounds like Bam. And I do believe that it's going to require PJ Tucker and KZ to kind of do something a little bit more than what they're currently doing in order for them to be able to withstand and sustain some type of defensive presence in the middle while Bam is out. So I just think that Bam, yes, is Bam needed on the Heat roster? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can the Heat maintain their positioning 1 through 6? It depends for me on Jimmy Butler. That's just what I'm saying. So yeah. I'm talking about long term. You're gonna need Bam because you're not getting ready to see any part of the postseason without him. Let's just be honest about that. But we're talking about maybe a 15 to 20 game, 4 to 6 weeks being out or whatever that number is, depending on how he's healing and stuff. So it's possible that they can attempt to maintain, but they're gonna need Jimmy Butler on the court.
Yeah, not only is Jimmy out, but Morris is still nursing his neck. And, Duncan Robinson is still struggling from the field. He's had little glimmers of hope, where he'll shoot pretty well, but oftentimes it is not impressive. They're going to need more from Duncan Robinson if the Heat want to even hold on during this stretch where Bam's out.
But think about it. If Duncan Robinson can be consistent right now, because trust me, the Heat has been winning without him playing at his best. I mean, he had one game where he had 0 points and he played over 20 minutes. Like, what are you doing? You at the jungle gym? Like, I don't understand what's going on with you running around the court, Duncan. But if now is your time to step up, because then hopefully you can help absorb some of the points that that's going to be missing because of Bam Adebayo's absence. So, because you hadn't been really contributing Duncan Robinson consistently enough. So really, if we're talking about a point spread, that would be one way that Duncan Robinson right now can step in and really get it going. He got to do something because it's not going to be defensively, but at least he can do something offensively. And I think that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying they can sustain. So yes, you need Jimmy Butler, but if Duncan Robinson can now start holding his weight on their roster, I think it would make it more make it seem reasonable that the Heat can at least stay within the 1 through 6 spot in the East.
And it's not just Duncan Robinson though. I'm still waiting for Kyle Lowry to be the Kyle Lowry from Toronto Raptors. Right now, he's averaging his career lows since he was very early in the league when he played for, I want to say, Houston. These are low numbers for Kyle Lowry. It could be age. It could just be getting used to a new system. But no, seriously, Kyle Lowry, we need more from him.
You know what? I will give you age, but his veteran leadership should be able to withstand that. Like, okay, you may not be able to put up the points, I guess, because if anybody that's watching the game of basketball right now haven't noticed that aging players, and they're still young in normal day life, but as a professional basketball player, aging players are struggling right now, right? And it's hard for them to keep up like they used to. So Kyle Lowry, I think, is suffering from that right now. I mean, not in a negative way, but I think his body is saying, sir, when are you going to say, I'm going to hang it up? Now, maybe it'll be after the 3 years, based when his contract is over, and that's fine. I agree, not only does Duncan Robinson need to step up, but I'm going to need Kyle Lowry to be consistent. When Kyle Lowry is consistently scoring, the Heat does pretty good, whether or not Jimmy or Bam plays. But he got to do his part. They brought him over to do his part. So I'm quite sure he came over thinking he was going to be able to support Bam and Jimmy Butler. But guess what? They've been both out of the rotation. They've been injured throughout the season so far. So Kyle, you got experience, right? This should be new to you. I'm gonna need for you to do something. I don't know, but yeah, he needs to step it up as well, offensively and defensively. I think.
You know, with Bam out, it kind of forces PJ Tucker to play the role like he did for the Milwaukee Bucks. PJ is only 6'5", and he's going up against these giants. We're asking PJ and Dedmon to take up the middle. That's a tall task. I think the Miami Heat should just go small from. I mean, it goes small from the beginning. I mean, because if you think about it, Lowry's only 6 feet, you know, and now Hero is also starting. He's 6'5" in the backcourt with Lowry. They just need to go small and just run these guys out the gym. But the thing is, they're more of a defensive team.
You know what? I would say go small unless they're playing against the Cavs.
Oh, yeah, with them Twin Towers over there.
The block party they be putting on, I don't think even the Heat can withstand that. However, I agree with you on that. It boils down to this. Bam Adebayo will be missed. And Heat fans, we are going to be on pins and needles waiting for him to return. That's one thing. If Jimmy Butler is going to be in and out of the rotation because of any injury or nagging injury that he has acquired over this season, that's going to also be a concern, right? And then if we don't have Duncan Robinson, I promise you, I think in addition to Jimmy Butler, in addition to Kyle Lowry doing what he was brought over to do, right? Consistently, because we haven't seen that consistently, Duncan Robinson is the pin that can help hold it all together. He needs to show up and do what he signed recently to do. If he can't do that, then Bam's point production is a wash, and they're not going to have anybody to help cover that.
You know, Bam is averaging 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists on the season. That's a lot. That's a lot to fill in.
It doesn't have to be, because that's what Duncan Robinson was doing last season. All I need for him to do is do what he did last season. And I'm saying that because he hasn't done it this season. So the Heat's wins haven't been on his back. You know, he hasn't really been a great contributor to their wins. So now if he turns it up, it can, at least from a point perspective, help absorb the missing points from Bam. That's just all I'm saying. You know, but that's not talking about defense, because I already know Duncan Robinson ain't about to do nothing on defense.
No. That's definitely not his strong suit. Definitely. So we figure Bam will be out about 20 games, which will take them past Christmas, very close to the All-Star break, right?
Yes, about that. I understand that when he's scheduled to come back around mid-January, if the schedule is true to the 20 games, the Heat goes on a road trip. So for him to come back on the road would be great. But the likelihood of him maybe not coming back to full potential on the road trip is reasonable as well. So we'll see. We're looking at maybe the end of January.
Ooh, wow.
That's a lot of games.
It is. And teams are going to be ramping it up, almost jockeying for position in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. I don't know that the Heat can stay top 6. I'm just not sold on it until I see more from Duncan and a little more from Kyle Lowry. Then I can make a better assessment. But right now, I'm just not sure.
You know, another thing that may be a saving grace for the Heat, and I hate to put this on other teams, but as the season continues, players will start suffering some types of injuries. Nagging, they may have to take injury management time off and all of that good stuff. That could be in the favor of the Heat, right? So we'll just see how it all plays out. It won't be because of their... It may not be because of their improved effort. It may be because the other team, for some reason, missing some players. No, I'm serious.
It's true.
Which could work in the Heat's benefit. So, which is a shame. It shouldn't be that way, but you know, I just don't know.
Yeah, and now the Milwaukee Bucks have waken up. I mean, Atlanta Hawks they're on a little stretch too. So now it's a little bit more competitive because at first the Bucks and the Hawks were a joke in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, but I always had hope for the Bucks.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah.
I knew that once they became healthy, it would be no problem. Guess where they are? I think they're number either 3 or 4 as we speak right now
Mm-hmm.
in the East. So I'm not surprised that they're up there. The Hawks are moving up. You know, another thing that may actually help the Heat as well, because another thing that they have to consider themselves is that perhaps the Charlotte Hornets, because they're now going to be having 4 players in health and safety protocols. I'm talking
Right.
about 3 of their starters,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, it's those types of things. Not that they'll be playing them, but it's those types of things that can help shift and save the Heat in their 1 through 6 spot, as long as they maintain their performance, you know?
So let's take a look at the next 5 games for the Miami Heat. Now, I'm looking at their schedule and I'm telling you, these next 5 games, each team has a dominant big. How are the Miami Heat going to contend with these guys?
They're going to have to ramp up their defense. And they're going to have to, the Heat is going to have to learn to outshoot these teams. That's just what it's going to boil down to. Duncan Robinson again. So we already know Tyler Hero's going to do it. You know, he's been so consistent. And thank God for Tyler Hero showing up and showing out this season, because I don't know what they would do without him. If Jimmy Butler can at least get his mid-range game, you know, hot, and Kyle Lowry can find his at least 4 threes from the perimeter. I mean, they're going to have to learn to outshoot these teams, because unless Dedmon just like surprises all of us, they're gonna be struggling.
The Miami Heat could have definitely used Precious Achiuwa off the bench, but you know, they got rid of him. So the next 5, they play the Memphis Grizzlies. They have the Milwaukee Bucks. We already know their size in the middle. They just signed Boogie. You know, you got Giannis to contend with. And then they play the Chicago Bulls. We know Vooch is doing work. And then Philly and Embiid. And lastly, they play the Cleveland Cavaliers with the Twin Towers that we talked about earlier. So it's going to be tough.
And they've played 4 of these teams already this season, right? They played the Grizzlies and they beat the Grizzlies. They lost to the Bucks. They lost to the Cavs, clearly. And they won with the Bulls. They have not played the Sixers. Now, if Joel Embiid is on the floor, he can get they can about it. So the likelihood of them winning these games now with Bam being out, it's going to take a shooting explosion for them to even. No, I'm just saying, because on defense, I just don't know, because I think that's one of the things that they'll be missing with Bam Adebayo being out of the rotation. Defense, his defense. I mean, if he can't do nothing else, he is athletic, and he can run, he can stretch. I mean, he can do all the things, right? And so they're gonna be missing that, right? And I think that perhaps with more playing time from Dedmon, maybe KZ can get in. I just don't know. You can't expect much from the rookie. I mean, come on, he just came into the league.
Right.
You're 7 or something like that. He just came into the league, so he's not gonna give you much. So yeah, I don't know. However, I think this is the time for the Heat to fill their 15th roster spot. They got 1 spot that's open.
Okay.
Bring somebody in. This is it. Spend the money. I don't know what you want to do, but you need somebody. 10-day contracts will be Exhibit 10. What you need to do, make it happen to bring somebody in. If you need to rotate them, do whatever you need to do between this time. There got to be somebody in free agency that's just out there. I mean, the Bucks just pulled in Cousins. You can't find nobody else.
I know.
Go to the G League. That's the G. Isn't that what the G League is for?
Yeah.
Isn't it what it's for? I mean, so just come on. They have to be able to do something, but to allow the Heat to just ride out what they have, hoping that they will maintain positioning, because the way the East teams are playing right now, they will find themselves outside of the play-in tournament if they're not careful.
Yeah.
So they don't have time to say, "Oh, we're gonna be okay when he come back." No, you may not be. You just may not be. So use that 15th roster spot that's available. Put somebody in it. And then once Bam comes back, then send him back to the G League. I don't know. That's what the G League is for.
Yeah, that's what it's for. Now, do you have the Heat winning any of these games against their next 5 competitors?
I was gonna be like, okay, since Ja's not playing with the Grizzlies, maybe, but the Grizzlies is balling without Ja. So I'm just saying, I don't see it. I really don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know what I have to look at the Bulls schedule and where the Bulls fall. Are they coming up for back-to-back? What may be another saving grace for them during this next 5-game stretch is if any of these opposing teams are coming off of a back-to-back. Because what I'm realizing is that back-to-backs, the second game that these teams play, they're struggling. They're tired.
Yeah,
the players are tired. So they may be able to benefit from a win if one of these teams are coming off of a back-to-back.
I'm looking at it. I see them going 0-5 on the next 5 games.
That would be, if they go 0-5, they may be number 11 by the time the 5 games are up.
Yeah.
That's how tight the East is right now. You cannot afford to lose more than 3 games in a row. You just really can't.
You really can't. Not the way them Bulls playing. Like you just can't. The Nets are finally. So you got to think about, like you mentioned earlier, who is in the top 6? And is there any chance of them sliding down? It's not looking good.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Who's in the top 6 and where is the positioning of 7 through 10? Because that is forever fluctuating, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if they don't do something right now, they should be right now looking to see who they can pull from the G League just to bring in for their 15 roster spot. Or Udonis, hey, how you doing? Dust it off. No, come on. This is when you look at your roster. You like, we got these people on here, and we got somebody on the roster that in his, can he give us a good 10 minutes?
No, Udonis is not gonna. They just put him in as the enforcer. That's it. He's not. No.
Again, what I'm saying is now we're at a critical state. And because the East is so tough right now, and the teams are slipping and sliding all up and through the rankings,
right?
One game after the next, you gotta look at your roster, Heat, and say, okay, can we, Udonis, can you give us 10 minutes? Can we get 10?
Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap up this episode on the Miami Heat. Make sure you drop down in the comments and let us know your thoughts around this. Can the Heat hold on to the top 6 spot with Bam out nursing his injury? Thank you all for watching. We will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
peace.
Peace, y'all.